Johnny Talk Sports at the Week 10 NFL predictions. Last week I went 10-4, including picking the Ravens to beat the Patriots on Sunday Night Football last week. So the last 2 weeks I've done really well. Not a good start to the season, but I think the later on the season has gone, the better my picks have been. So I'm hoping Week 10 I continue my hot streak. So let's get right to it. Now I'm not really going to go in depth on all these matchups because I'm pretty tired this week. So we always begin with Thursday Night Football on this channel. So this week, Thursday Night Football features the Chargers and the Raiders. The Chargers, there is some life in this Chargers team. While the Raiders, they've been competitive throughout the season. I feel like the Chargers, they have momentum right now, especially pulling off an upset against the Packers last week and winning the way they did. I mean, they won convincingly. Aaron Rodgers had his worst game of the season for the Packers. So I'm going to take the Chargers to continue the momentum that they have because it seems as if towards the beginning of the season, it appears that there's just no signs of life in this Chargers team. But then the later on the season goes, the Chargers get some momentum. And I think this is happening again. I'm going to take the Chargers in this one. Next, we have the Lions and the Bears. Both these teams, they need to get back on the winning track. And I'm going to take the Bears to get back on the winning track. I just think that game against Green Bay, where arguably the officials cost Detroit the game, I think that is the season breaker for the Lions. And I think the Bears, for them to win games, just let David Montgomery and Tariq Cohen touch the ball at least combined 35 times. I think that's what's going to happen eventually, and no better way to start than in a divisional matchup. I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to completely abandon the passing game of Mitch Trubisky and just let the running game handle everything. I think the Bears get this win and get back on the winning track. Next, we have the Ravens and the Bengals. The Ravens coming off a big Sunday Night Football win against the Patriots last week, while the Bengals are looking to get their first win of the season, coming off a bye week, and A.J. Green is expected to make his season debut this Sunday in Cincinnati. Although I don't think A.J. Green will provide much of a difference for the Bengals, I do think the Ravens, since they're coming off an emotional victory, I think they may come out a little bit flat towards the beginning of the game. But I think once the game gets into about the late second half, probably the beginning of the fourth quarter, I expect the Ravens to pull away. And I think Lamar Jackson will do just enough to win this one. Lamar Jackson, who is a dark horse to win MVP right now. This may be a game where he and the Ravens, they come out flat a little bit. And I think the Ravens win, but I don't think they win by that much. I think the Ravens win by less than 10. I think the Bengals will be able to keep this one close. Next, we have the Bills and the Browns. The Browns, it's just a frustrating time right now in Cleveland. Trading for Odell Beckham in the offseason. Getting a new head coach in Freddie Kitchens. It just hasn't looked so well for the Browns so far. It seems as if the Browns are just overhyped once again. Well, the Bills, I think they're underhyped still. They played competitive against New England earlier in the season, and they did get their reality check against the Eagles, but it was a reality check. The Bills just needed to be humbled, and I think they've been humbled, and I think they will beat the Browns on Sunday. I'm taking Buffalo in this one. Next, we have the Chiefs and the Titans. Who knows? Could Pat Mahomes play this weekend? I think the Chiefs will win no matter what. I just think the Titans, they're back to reality. After winning 2 games in a row with Ryan Tannehill as the starting quarterback, they got the reality check last week against Carolina. And I think this is the Titans, they're now facing reality. I'm taking the Chiefs to win this one, despite Matt Moore probably going to be the starting quarterback this week, depending on if Pat Mahomes will be able to play or not, if he'll get activated. I think the Chiefs' offense is still firing on all cylinders. They just have a different quarterback throwing them, the receivers, the football. So I think Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, they're still going to have a big game. And I do like that running game of LaShawn McCoy, Damian Williams. I think the Chiefs will win this game. I don't know convincingly, though, because In the past, the Chiefs looked like a heavy favorite against the Titans, but then Ryan Suckup kicks a game-winning field goal from 57 yards out. Or at least somewhere more than 50 yards, I can't remember. But I think the Chiefs will get it done in this one. Next, we have the Falcons and Saints. Really nothing to discuss. The Falcons tanking, no business winning. But they'll probably find a way to put up like probably 30-something points and still lose the game. And Drew Brees will look like the Hall of Famer that he is in this matchup. Drew Brees will probably throw for 5 touchdowns in this. Alvin Kamara is coming back for the Saints this week. At least he's expected to. And the Saints will just completely dominate the Falcons. Realistically, I would say the Saints would win by 35, but something tells me the Falcons are going to find a way to stay in this game and then screw it up at the very end. So I'm taking the Saints. Next, we have the Giants and the Jets for this week's edition of I Have to Pick Somebody. Because both these teams, they don't look like they're capable of winning games down the road. But I've been impressed with the Giants so far this season. I think Daniel Jones has potential in this league. I think the Giants, if they can draft smart for the next 2 seasons, we could see the Giants winning the NFC East on a consistent basis. But I'm taking the Giants to win this week. But I think the future does look bright for the Giants because Saquon's doing well this season. Daniel Jones is proving his doubt is wrong a little bit. So I'm going to take the Giants. Next, we've got the Cardinals and the Buccaneers. And I'm going to pick the Buccaneers. Although I think both these teams, they have shown some potential as of late. But I'm going to pick the Buccaneers because I think the Buccaneers, it was a game where they probably should have won. But this could possibly be the last that we're going to be seeing of Jameis Winston. I think Jameis Winston will finish out the season. But I think Tampa Bay will look for a quarterback in this 2020 NFL draft. So I'm going to take the Buccaneers win this week. Because it seems as if 1 minute Jameis Winston does really well, and the next minute Jameis Winston is turning the ball over at will. I think we're going to have the moment where Jameis Winston is doing very well. I'm going to take Tampa Bay in this one. Next, we have the Dolphins and the Colts. And the Dolphins fans that want them to tank for Tua Tagovailoa, they're going to get their wish. And I know Dolphins fans are frustrated that they won last week. But the Dolphins, they're going to go back to their tanking act this week because the Dolphins, they just wanted to win 1 game just to avoid the laughter of going 0-16. So they just wanted to win once. They'll go back to tanking, and the Colts will win this week convincingly. Next, we have the Panthers and the Packers. The Packers last week, boy, did they just look abysmal last week. But I think once we turn that calendar toward November, I think this is when Aaron Rodgers plays like an MVP, especially in Lambeau, because the later on the season goes in the NFL, in Lambeau, Aaron Rodgers is at his best. And I think we're going to see that again this Sunday. I'm going to take Green Bay to win this matchup, which, by the way, Kyle Allen is still going to be the quarterback because Cam Newton has been placed on the injury reserves list. So his season is over with the Panthers and possibly his Carolina career, which I think is a realistic observation. So anyway, picking Green Bay. Moving on to the Rams and the Steelers. The Steelers, they're starting to make a comeback a little bit in the NFC North. But however, I think since the Rams made that trade for Jalen Ramsey, I think it sparked some life in this Rams team. And I think the Rams will pick up a win here, but I think it's going to come at a cost. Well, not really necessarily a cost, but they're going to have to really earn this one. I think the Rams, I think they escape Heinz Field with a victory. I don't think they just go in there, just completely take it at will from the Steelers. I think the Steelers will make them work in this one. Although the status of James Conner is questionable right now, but Trey Edmonds and Jalen Samuel should be getting a lot of reps for the Steelers in this one. But I think the Steelers, they keep this close. I think the Rams win realistically 26-23. Next, we have the Vikings and the Cowboys, the Sunday Night Football game. While the Vikings last week, they lost the Chiefs, and the Cowboys, they beat the Giants on Monday Night Football. So there is a little bit of less rest, at least. I know maybe a day isn't that much, But when you're playing a Monday night game, then you have to play Sunday in prime time, I feel like it doesn't really bode well for the Cowboys necessarily. But the Cowboys are lucky that they get the luxury of playing Kirk Cousins in prime time, because Kirk Cousins always folds under the pressure in big games and in primetime games. So the Cowboys, I think, will win this one. But I think it'll be a good game. I think we're going to see both offenses really shine in this one. I think the Cowboys win in a shootout 34-31. And finally, we have the Monday Night Football game, the Seahawks and the 49ers. The 49ers are the last undefeated team left in the National Football League, while the Seahawks, they are a team that has dodged bullets all season long. The Seahawks could easily have possibly maybe 4 losses this season, maybe even 5 depending on how you look at it. But I think with the 49ers, this Seahawks team, they're used to seeing each other. And the Seahawks, they've had the 49ers number as of late. And this is who I think will be the toughest team the 49ers have played so far. So, and the Seahawks, they just recently activated Josh Gordon. So that's another weapon for Russell Wilson to throw to. So I'm going to take an upset here. I'm going to take the Seahawks to beat the 49ers, giving them their first loss of the season. I think the Seahawks, they upset the 49ers on Monday Night Football. So those are my picks for the week. For a review, I like the Chargers, Bears, Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, Saints, Giants, Buccaneers, Colts, Packers, Rams, Cowboys, and Seahawks this week. Like, share, and subscribe. Comment your picks down below, and I will see you next time.